like me, you've probably dreamt of walking on the moon and exploring the solar system. In fact, when I was young, I actually dreamt of going to space. That's what I wanted to be when I grew up. I wanted to be an astronaut, so I went to space camp because I am a super nerd. But this weekend, the CTI Theater planned to celebrate the 50th anniversary of NASA's Apollo 11 mission with the release of Apollo 11, the First Steps edition. So we have the Pink Palace having this film coming to Memphis to be presented in front of course, a big audience. Again, that is going to be on the very large CTI giant screen. If you haven't ever seen, it's equivalent to an IMAX. It's humongous. So you're getting to see what went into the first steps of Apollo 11 in this exclusive film of explaining kind of what went down with that. So please welcome at least one of our guests that is with us today to tell us a little bit more about what's going on. I think we have another one coming too who can tell us some firsthand information on exactly what went down. So we are going to be joined by Tony Hardy and Bill Wepner. He's going to tell us some more about, of course, this iconic moment in history. So Apollo 11, and you were a part of it, correct?
Yes, I was. Fortunately, it was a wonderful time in my life, and I was just amazingly fortunate to have been part of it.
And that's the flight plan, right?
That's the flight plan for Apollo 11, yes.
That is incredible. So kind of tell me what all this entails.
Well, this is a plan that's made up for every mission, and the Mission Planning and Analysis Division at the Manned Spacecraft Center would prepare the flight plan, and it would be amended as we went through practice runs, simulations. And then at launch day, this was the Bible, and we followed that page by page, hour by hour, minute by minute. Yes. In fact, there's an interesting story on that flight plan, which briefly goes, when they first landed on the moon, according to that flight plan that Tony's holding, the next process was they were going into about an 8-hour sleep period, rest, eat, and sleep. Can you imagine two men who just landed on the moon,
no.
the first human beings, taking a nap? Well,
nope.
It didn't happen.
Can't imagine it did.
So we had to modify the flight plan real time. And they did their extravehicular activity, the moonwalk,
wow.
Immediately after having landed. Then they took a nap, perhaps.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
really think they slept.
No, I don't think they did either.
So what is it like being a part of now bringing this to this humongous screen for, you know, a new generation to kind of learn and see how this is developed?
It's like it happened yesterday.
Really?
And it's exciting, and it's just as exciting as it was 50 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little older. I've got a little less hair, a lot less hair, but it's just as much fun, yes.
So I went to space camp, so I am fascinated with all of this. And we got to do a simulated flight. I was a fake scientist. I was on the flight. But this is something that just absolutely blows my mind. So tell us a little bit about how we kind of got it to the Pink Palace and why this is going to be a neat experience.
Well, they've been working on this film for the 50th anniversary. They started a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. So they went to NASA and started looking at all the archival materials and what they had. And lo and behold, they uncovered these reels of 10 perf, 70 millimeter film negative that everybody had forgotten about. It had never been lost. It was archived. But, you know, people retire, people move on, and they forgot that stuff was there. So they pulled it off. They had to build a special scanner to scan it. And they just started seeing these miracle images. What you're going to see in this film looks like it was shot this morning.
Oh, wow.
It's staggering. You're back in 1969 again. And for anybody who remembers 1969, it's going to open up a lot of doors in your head. It's going to be a very emotional ride, not just from the context of the moonshot, but seeing the world of 1969 again.
Yeah.
The people, the clothes, the hairstyles, the cars, the cultural impact was just amazing. And so it just washes over you, and you're like, oh my God, I'm there again.
Looking at it on the screen, it looks like it was shot for a movie theater right now. Like, that's incredible. And just to, I mean, Apollo 11, this is Neil Armstrong's
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin.
So
And
probably the most famous.
They were.
They were, because you mentioned they were the first ones on the moon. I cannot even imagine what that would have been like.
All of these guys were rock stars back then. I mean, they were huge.
They're still rock
They're
stars.
still rock
Are you kidding? Buzz Aldrin's on Twitter. He's all about it. Well,
yeah,
so,
Buzz is making a name.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Rendezvous. Yeah.
So when is this happening? How can we get tickets? What do we need to know?
Well, we open up this Saturday, May 25th. We're having a big day full of programming. Bill's going to be talking that afternoon in our Mansion Theater. We've got shows at the Apollo 11 film at 9:45, 11, 1, 3, and 4. So there's plenty of opportunities to see it. It's going to be playing all summer.
Oh, perfect.
And it's just prepare to have your mind blown. And if you weren't alive when this happened, if you were born after the moon landings, I can see why it's hard for people to understand that we actually did this. But when you see what went into it, 410,000 men and women were responsible for getting us to the moon.
Wow.
And one of them lives right here in Memphis, Tennessee, and he's right here with us.
That is so neat. I want to talk to you again and pick your brain for hours. That is so exciting. I cannot wait to see this film. I don't know if you can tell. I'm genuinely excited.
Okay. Super.
All right. Well, that is going to be at the Pink Palace. You can get all the information, of course, at our wonderful Pink Palace Museum's website. We'll be back in just a few minutes with more Local Memphis Live.